And very shortly the cars to be released to the track then. This is going to be another 30-minute session. Engines fire. And so green flag shown. Darrell Young leads them out of the pit lane. And Macau and GT3 cars, always quite a spectacle. And so one by one, out they go, including the Aston Martin of Anderson Her, who caused the red flag earlier on in the day for these cars, but that's been made good. Andrew Harriento's Audi also caused a stoppage. That, I think I'm right in saying, I've just seen go through the shot as well. The ever-creative liveries in this region, including the sort of zebra-style Porsche there of Adrian De Silva, the car run by Earl Bamber Motorsport, Earl himself racing next weekend here. So Darrell Young leads them out, and whatever else you put on the Macau circuit, there's something about a GT3 car that just looks fantastic.
It's so emotive, isn't it? Absolutely superb. They are just gorgeous. So, confirmation of the temperature today, 25 degrees ambiently at the moment, and that's a couple of degrees down or more from yesterday. Very, very hot yesterday. Piercing sunshine. And even the security people wearing umbrellas for the day, because standing out in the sunshine all day yesterday would have been pretty detrimental, I reckon.
Well, it's going to be hot in the cars again right now, and Darrell Young on a fairly gentle outlap here. He's not throwing caution to the wind. He is building up the pace.
The thing being, he's got pole position as far as the order is concerned. Clear track in front. That's a nice position to be in. And he was impressive in free practice, wasn't he?
Well, Darrell is somebody that knows the circuit very well, knows the car, knows the team, so everything kind of gels for him. The only thing that you sort of feel for him a little bit is that he's not in the FIA weekend, as it were. He's in this, which is, okay, it's still racing at the Macau Grand Prix, but a victory, if it comes, and it's expected to come, I think, is not necessarily going to have quite the same kudos as it might have done next week. But I think equally, Darrell Young is savvy enough to realise that, that's how it is. The FIA GT World Cup is very much a manufacturer-driven event. This is not, and this gives the likes of him and the others, who are AM pluses, a chance to shine anyway.
It's a very high-quality first weekend.
Absolutely.
Event.
I mean, the F4 race, which we've got qualifying for next, I think is going to be absolutely fantastic because it is such a level playing field.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. And in fairness, you said it might be expected that Darrell Young would go very well this weekend. Yes. But as Darrell Young will attest, sometimes things happen at Macau.
Well, they do.
That can create a bit of a story over the course of the weekend, and that happened a couple of years ago for Darrell Young with a car that was pretty much all but demolished on the Saturday, wasn't it? And then to come through and become the star turn on Sunday was quite remarkable.
Yes, he'd gone through quarantine in order to take part in the event, and then it was oil dropped by another car that he hit.
That's right.
And it just fired him into the barriers, under braking for Lisboa. And yes, it was quite a damaged car, but it was rebuilt, and he won the following day, which was the major talking point of the weekend, and in many senses, a just result for him, really.
It was, when you say you couldn't write the script for this, you really couldn't. It was quite superb. Very dramatic, very emotional stuff.
But how often have you said that at Macau? Because the stories keep on coming, don't they?
They do. So, outlaps are being completed now. So, on to the first of the flying laps, and therefore the first of the beautiful engine tones come past the commentary box. Goodness me, they sound lovely.
It's always been one of the big features of GT racing, whether it's a normally aspirated engine or a turbo, whether it's 6 or 8 or 12 cylinders. They all have this, as we know, distinctive engine sound. 88 through, another of the Mercedes. That is Cheng Sheng. Macau Road Sport Challenge racer in the past, and the winner 2 years ago of the GT4 race here, in fact. Number 22 Porsche is Liao Yang, K-Sport team, for the 991.2 iteration of the 911.
So, not surprisingly, 2 sectors complete now for Darrell Young. purple in both. So quickest of all in the first 2 sectors for Darrell Young. That's this car here, the 55 car of Darrell Young. Overall quickest in the first 2 sectors, which has not surprised anyone thus far. I think we can expect that this is going to be the benchmark time for everybody to aim for at the end of this lap. Yep, purple. Oh dear. We should spend less time together.
Lin Howe, yellow flag, Lisboa, Audi. Please find reverse gear. And this is how he did it, all on his own. Turns in, just didn't get it slowed down in time, can't make the corner, and bang. Relatively low impact.
Quite gentle.
Yeah. But now he's got to go down through the box, because you don't just hook reverse, you've got to go down, 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 find reverse, and then try and pull away. The yellow flag is still there. So that car yet to flee the scene of the crime.
Darrell Young had, not surprisingly, while all that was happening, gone purple in the first 4 sectors of the lap. Now we are yellow in sector 2. And is that car going to find reverse? Are we going to be able to keep this session going? Green flag.
Hooray.
We go, well, we don't go racing, we go qualifying.
We go quicker, because the restriction of having to slow for a yellow flag has now been lifted. Right, so Darrell Young then pressing on. He's just on a 2 minutes 20.469. That's quicker than he went in free practice. So drivers on the money here. You think cars look quick in free practice, but they always look that little bit more purposeful in qualifying and with justification.
Means something a bit more now, doesn't it? And Darrell Young on his own, see the car skipping over the bumps on the run into Lisboa. Beautifully done through Lisboa. That was a perfect line, wasn't it?
It was, and that was the scene of his big shunt a couple of years back. But now the grunt and go Mercedes makes its way up the hill, and Mercedes, like Porsche, and to a slightly lesser degree BMW, coming here in a week's time mob-handed with an absolutely stellar cast for the GT World Cup.
I should say. The return of the FIA GT World Cup here at Macau, a very, very welcome return. We had the we were eased into it last year with some of the manufacturer drivers, weren't we? And boy, did they give us some excitement last year. But to have the World Cup back on the timetable this weekend is absolutely superb.
If you saw any of the first half of the first lap, the Marcello versus Engel battle, you'll know how good it was, and they're both in the entry.
What I saw,
So
what joy, absolute joy that was.
Well, we saw them both, didn't we, a month or so later in Abu Dhabi, and they were still wide-eyed about it then. So it clearly mattered to them as well.
I think my first question to each of them was about what happened a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, right now, Darrell Young in his Mercedes, who is very much the favourite for Greater Bay Area GT Cup honours for the GT3 cars. He's coming down to Melco Happen. He's got behind him the Lamborghini of Lin Kang, the Chinese driver, who closes up a little bit under braking. And actually, Lin Kang is also doing good sector times on this lap.
Has been the first car, other than Darrell Young, to put in a personal, an overall best sector. Sector 3 for Lin Kang on that last lap, on this lap rather. So 2:20.4 is the benchmark time from Darrell Young. 1.4 the deficit for Lin Kang in second place, car number 6. But Lin Kang is only to complete sector 5 with another purple. So this is good news. Lin Kang going well in the Lamborghini. The gap down to 0.6 of a second now.
Right, well, Darrell Young has pitted, so that gives Lin Kang a free ride. Look, he's got the road to himself as he accelerates out of Mandarin down towards Lisboa. And let's see what he can do on this next sector. The answer is not as quickly as before, strangely. Whether he was benefiting from a tow from Darrell Young, hard to know. But on his own, he doesn't go any faster. So he's got to try and beat a 2 minutes 20.469. Heads up San Francisco Hill now, and looked all good.
We have clear track as well, which is really good news for the Lamborghini driver. This is Lin Kang, currently second, put in a overall best in sector 2 on the way towards the wall that marks the left-hander at Teddy Yip onto the Solitude S's. But so not particularly spectacular in sector 1, but an overall best in sector 2.
Yeah.
I think it was the previous lap that he was overall best in sector 3. So we'll see what this part of the circuit is going to be like.
Yeah, the best in sector 1, Darrell O'Young 23.9. This lap from Lin Kang 24.1. So he's about 2/10 down. But then in the second sector, as you say, he's now done the absolute best. But in the third sector, he's jumped to 10th. So net, it's a lose, not a gain, isn't it?
Yeah. So 1 out of 3 sectors have been superb. The Lamborghini pushes on up towards Melco hairpin, through the hairpin, close to the inside barrier there, going through the corner. This is quick, isn't it, on this final sector? There's a personal best in sector 4. The car skipping around now and about to complete the lap. And let's see if Lin Kang can do something spectacular in sector 5 while Darrell O'Young is down in pit lane. Meanwhile, we look at the number 18 Mercedes, Kevin Sayre. And nothing special for Lin Kang on the final sector. Someone else is in the running as well now, because an overall best in the final sector for Min Heng in car 66, which is currently in 5th place.
It's under the Mercedes, isn't it, Min Heng? That's Kevin Sayre, who's just got up to 3rd fastest, and he did the absolute best in the last sector. So 2:22 for Kevin Sayre, and it's still only 0.2 of a second between O'Young and Ling for the top time.
So number 18 then, Kevin Sayre. In the Mercedes, currently 3rd. Personal best in sector 1. Through Lisboa, on towards San Francisco. Up San Francisco Hill towards Maternity. What are we going to have for Kevin Sayre in the second sector? Is it going to be another personal best? 2 cars down in pit lane. One is the 33 car of Christon Chow, and also Darrell O'Young, who tops the times.
Right, so Kevin Sayre pressing on, having raced this year in British GT, started his career, as you would anticipate from a Macanese driver, in Germany, really. Yes, in the German Polo Cup, and then he went to race in GT Asia and won the 2011 Macau Road Sport Series, but he's raced all over the globe, whether it's been in one-make events or multi-mark GT racing more recently. Lin Kang here, I think, being possibly held up a little bit in traffic behind Adrian De Silva, the Malaysian businessman. He's quite an experienced racer as well these days.
Porsche, oh no, it's gone wrong at the Melco hairpin. I was just about to say the Porsche threading its way through the Melco hairpin. It's so easy to get it wrong, to just not get the right line, to just be too tight on the inside, and it throws you over to the barrier. I don't think it even touched the barrier. It's just wrong, but it's now found reverse gear, can get going. So that was just a little bit of a throttle block on at the Melco hairpin. And now the question is for everyone else to get going again.
Yeah.
And they're not, unfortunately.
No, Lin Kang stalled the Lamborghini. He actually was reversed into, wasn't he, by De Silva? Right, he's got it going now.
Everybody else still going?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's ruined Kevin Sayre's lap that had 3 personal bests, and he was the 4th in the queue and had to come to a dead stop. So that was the end of that for him. So Lin Kang gets away up towards the pit lane. Others press on, go for another time. Right, Lin Kang in. Macau driver Kevin Sayre also very frustrated. He's carried on, but that lap having completely disappeared from him. It was a 3 minutes 2, so that cost him about 40 seconds. What he has now got is a clear road again. So maybe this one will turn things around for Kevin, up to third fastest. And yes, absolute best in the first sector. So not only with clear road, but also I suspect being a bit revved up after having to come to a dead stop. Kevin Say is pressing on.
Really is pressing on, yeah. Overall best in Sector 1. Darrell Young is out of pit lane, back on circuit as well. As you can see, the 55 car currently has the quickest time, a 2:20.469, and is back out on circuit. So the Macau driver, Kevin Say, car number 18, with an overall best in Sector 1, a personal best in Sector 2. So local driver, one to watch on this lap. Number 18, Kevin Say, the blue Mercedes you saw go out of picture, back into shot now. And let's see what this Sector 3 is going to be, twisting through this very tight section of the circuit, up towards the right-hander at Police, through Police, up towards Moorish, onto Donna Maria. Personal best in Sector 3 as well, 29.8 in Sector 3. So Kevin Say is probably pushing on now onto the Melco hairpin. Was that quite a slow approach to Melco?
Possibly. Interesting, isn't it, how some of the cars sort of turn, and then the final bit of the turn he's done with a bit of acceleration to drag them round the corner, sort of squirt round. Got
a yellow flag at turn 16, that's Police, so not anything that's going to worry Kevin Say.
No.
And nor was Sector 4. That wasn't anything to write home about for Kevin Say. But the final sector, what will happen here? 2:22.116 was the previous best line, 2:22.001. So an improvement personally of time for Kevin, but not an improvement in position. However, the lap as a whole was a net gain for personal time, 2:22.001. Darrell Young has done an overall best in Sector 2 after spending a fair bit of time down in pit lane.
That yellow flag is still out.
Still there, isn't it?
Yeah. So we await news as to who it is. It might be 61 Adrian De Silva, who has not made it through that sector, because he is still shown as being stranded within the sector. So we're looking for a Porsche in the next few corners, which might start to answer. Red flag again, red flag again.
Right. Yeah, the yellow flag had been out for some time, hadn't it? So all the signs were there. If the yellow flag goes in quickly, then they've been able to recover the situation so things can carry on. But sadly, with 12.5 minutes remaining in this qualifying session for the Greater Bay Area GT Cup GT3 cars, they have time to pause, reflect, lose heat in tyres, and then repeat the process.
Yeah, exactly. So, if we've had to have a red flag, is it because it's a rather damaged car, or is it just that it can't restart under its own power? Time will tell, but into the pit lane they will all stream. And what have we got left on the clock? 12.5 minutes, so there is time available to the drivers. And there's the Porsche, it was 61. So Adrian De Silva has gone to the barriers. The crane rope is attached, and it is at the Melco hairpin, in fact. It's not down at Police, it is at Melco, and you don't often find people that go straight on there, because you've got to be slow to take the corner. He's arrived at a fair old lick.
Yeah, yeah, that's a bit of a puzzling one, to be honest. Yeah. Although we had a puzzling one for Raffaele Marciello, didn't we, at the Melco hairpin?
Last year.
And then we discovered afterwards that it was a problem with the car.
Yeah, it was mechanical, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that car went straight on and robbed us of the battle that we had between himself and Maro Engel.
All right, well, Darrell Young, the fastest then by a fifth of a second, comes down the pit lane.
Your provisional pole sitter into pit lane. Darrell Young brings the car to a stop. The team heave-ho the car back to its berth in pit lane. Important part of it, wasn't it? To get the car out of the hot parts of the pit lane. The main lane that leads from in to out. Someone warned about that earlier on, didn't we, today? Was it today?
Probably.
Yes, it was. First thing this morning. And opportunity for drivers to not only wave to the outside world, but also to get a couple of photographs themselves inside the car. It's the Lin Kang car, the Lamborghini, who's been pushing on in this session.
Yeah. It's fascinating to see how he has come on as a sports car driver since he left Europe, because in FIA F3, I have a recollection of him, for example, driving for the Macau Motorsport team. He was never a standout. And quite a lot of drivers from the region came over and had a go at F3 in that era, and at varying degrees of success. But bringing him back to this area with the lessons learned to put him in a GT car, Kangling is very, very quick.
Chris Onchow, that was just having a little wave at the camera, and you kind of got the impression that even to have a little wave was a positive thought about whether that was going to use too much energy, because it does look warm in those cars, doesn't it? Really, really hot.
And he is somebody that, as we said earlier on, normally is to be found in a GT4 car, which is less aero dependent. But Chris Chia, last year's China GT champion, has raced in GT World Challenge Asia this year. Oh dear.
Oh, it's not good, is it?
That is not good at all. That would, to me, suggest throttle sticking open or a brake failure, because you don't do that amount of damage at that corner without going in very, very quickly.
No, that's not good. So driver out of car, which is good to see, because the car is going to be lifted. Best to get the driver out of the car before you do the lift. Otherwise, it's a slightly concern for the driver. So driver out of car, but a lot of front end damage for the Porsche.
Yeah, Adrian De Silva, Malaysian businessman racer, who's been a friend of Earl Bamber's ever since Earl was doing driver coaching at Sepang and taught Adrian how to race.
Wow.
And EVM runs Adrian's cars, amongst others. And he's not missed a season since about 2008, whether it's been in touring cars or GT cars of one form or another. Carrera Cup Asia racer, Ferrari Challenge racer. And drivers in cars, getting warmer and warmer and warmer. Number 5 there is the Vincent Fiorendo Audi. He appears on entry lists as Vicente, but he is a Vincent on the car. So Vincent Florendo, the Filipino driver for the Be Quick Absolute Racing team. Right, the marshals still stand with their boards and flags, but I think everybody is in the pits now. The start and finish area, and that's where Alan and I are based, is very, very close to the water, and therefore it's quite blustery at this part of Macau.
It is.
Whether it's the same across the island, drivers will tell, but wonder whether that's going to have an effect on smaller single-seaters aero next.
It's been a bit breezy all day, hasn't it? The trees are the only real sign that we have, but it's been blustery all day. And David's quite right, we've got water in front of us over on the far side of the paddock, and we have water behind us at reservoir, and it's a very big reservoir as well. And it's a unique part of the world, this Macau. Always warm, always humid, not surprisingly, because we've got a lot of water around, and always a little bit, just a little bit of high cloud, isn't there?
Yeah.
Just shields us from direct sunshine, but occasionally we get the sun blasting all day in blue skies, and that was something we had yesterday. I think they've had a hot week all week this week, actually. The weather forecast for next weekend is a little bit more normal.
Okay.
So a little bit more down to 23, 24 degrees, which is probably good news for drivers that are in closed machinery.
And especially here, because it's a very physical lap as well.
Extremely physical, yeah. You don't get too much time to relax, do you, around the gear circuit? Pretty intense stuff.
So, number 19, Lin Hao's Audi, or Vincent Lin, if you prefer. Thumbs up from others. 26, Hank Kicks, the man who owned Be Quick. Big wave, thumbs up, ready to go. And when he does go, it'll be 12.5 minutes, just under on the clock.
So we saw the Porsche having been pulled back, didn't we? And in the centre of the circuit, they've got good lifting equipment up there at Macau hairpin. So I am confident and optimistic that we can get this session back underway, which will be over the course of 12 minutes and 28 seconds, so 12.5 minutes of this session remaining. They've been on a while, they'll have lost a fair bit of heat in the tyres, so this outlap is going to be pretty critical. Darryl Young it is that tops the times, 2:20.469. Looking at the 27 car of Andrew Harrianto and Kevin Tay, who we watched and enjoyed, improving on that lap.
Doors closing, which makes one think that we're getting closer to a restart. We haven't had a restart time, but Kevin Say, doors closed.
Well, you
looking pretty set.
You wouldn't want the doors closed unnecessarily,
No.
would you? So
No.
yeah, I think it probably is an indication that we're going to be getting things back underway fairly soon. This is the second red flag of this session.
Yes,
just
it is.
thinking back, yeah. So into the second half of qualifying, and at the end of this, we have just a short break before we get qualifying underway for the Macau Formula 4 race. They were the first cars on circuit this morning, and there was scheduled to be a little bit of a break. Afternoon tea, do you think that was the idea? It was going to be a half-an-hour break before the end of this and the start of qualifying for Formula 4. That gap is currently coming down, so the gap built in to try and ensure that the qualifying for Formula 4 can start exactly on time.
And part of that is because of this weekend, it is still being made, if you like, into the unofficial Grand Prix. It's still the headline race.
It's the headline race, yeah.
So everybody ready to fire the cars out of the pit lane. So engineers all out of the way, drivers are strapped in. One or two still with the door open, but doesn't matter hugely, I don't think.
Do you remember how quickly the team released Darryl Young this morning?
Yeah. No messing, wasn't
We need another one of those, please, says Darryl Young. And you can be pretty sure it will. Those blowers going in the front to keep things cool are going to be, with the ambient conditions, absolutely vital. Try and get a bit of airflow in the front. So we're still under red flag at the moment, and we're not getting any pictures on the recovery of the Porsche at the moment, are we?
No. No, I confess I'm surprised that all the teams are doing what they're doing, whereas there's no, as far as we can see, confirmed restart time.
I bet the drivers are surprised as well.
Well, yeah.
It's like, oh, so short call now for the resumption of the session. There's only one place to go from there, and that's very short call.
And then green flag.
And then green flag.
Yeah. Which is what everybody now wants. So 12.5 minutes,
Yeah,
barring any stoppages. What are we going to get? 5 laps?
Yeah, probably. And that assumes that we don't have another stoppage for the remainder of the session. 12 minutes and 28 left on the clock. Darryl Young, car 55, is top, 2:20.469. Darryl's done touring cars as well here, hasn't he?
That's right, yeah.
So, yeah.
And indeed, he had a season or two of World Touring cars, not just here, but the whole championship.
That's right.
Yeah,
Full
so
year.
independent. Right, green flag, we're back in business
Good
then.
news. So the clock starts counting down again. And GT3 cars back on the gear circuit here at Macau, leaving pit lane and populating the streets of Macau.
So this long, long line of cars doing the correct thing, staying to the left of the yellow line. When you're past that, then you can accelerate away. So the clock ticks on down. It's nearly a minute gone, and only now has everybody almost left the pit lane because Kwakwo Shin has yet to go. But he's away now. In front of us, the grandstands have got much, much busier over the course of the day. And as the drivers then turn out of Lisboa, make the climb up the hill, it's all very Mercedes AMG at the front of the field. Darrell Young leading the queue.
Yep, so not surprisingly, weaving the cars to get the heat back into the tyres. Brakes as well, they need to be back up to temperature. So one or two spacing out their exit from pit lane to hopefully make the most of a clear track. But most of them involved in this train heading around the top part of the circuit through the S's and up towards Police, the tightest part of the circuit.
Nobody really attacking this outlet with much gusto, are they? They're all being remarkably calm about it, which you could argue is a good thing, but I suppose my point is that with only 10 minutes on the clock, you might have anticipated one or two to try and hustle through the traffic. Indeed, the Beat Quick Audis only just venturing out now.
Yep, so the two of them leave pit lane as a pair. Darrell Young first out onto the circuit after the red flag intervention was resumed. And on sector 4 at the moment is Darrell Young leading the field around. Currently with provisional pole time, 2:24.69, and with 5 laps completed by Darrell Young. We see the field making their way down towards the left-hander at Donna Maria. Long left-hander. Donna Maria is an area that historically kind of avoids the most typical notorious incidents at Macau. It's not often you see something happening down there.
Which isn't to say that it's an easy corner.
No.
It's just that, yes, you're right, it doesn't have quite the same magnetic draw to its barriers that other bits do.
True. Yeah.
Right, so Darrell Young starting to get the warmth back into the tyres, taking Alex Liu with him.
So the two Mercedes across the line, they rumble past the hospitality units and the grandstand on the start-finish line.
Chang Sheng Shang behind them, and then Vincent Lin, or Lin Hao, with his Audi. Right, so Darrell Young now picks up the pace, runs it really close to the guardrail on the outside at Mandarin, but he gets away with that, as does Alex Liu behind him.
And into Lisboa, into San Francisco, and now the climb up the hill. So Darrell Young on this first sector, not doing a personal best. However, number 3 did. So Alex Liu in car number 3, currently in 8th place, put in a personal best, and so too did Li Qingxin in the number 14 car, also a personal best. And number 3, Alex Liu, has now put in a personal best in sector 2 as well. So maybe the break has paid off for number 3, Alex Liu.
Yeah, certainly there's a bit more pace in that car now, isn't there?
There is.
And possibly also it's staring down the barrel of the gun, thinking, I've only got 7 minutes to go, we need to get on with this.
Oh, Darrell Young doing what Darrell Young does. Purple in sector 2, purple in sector 3, fresh out of the box. And this might well be another overall best lap time for Darrell Young. We'll wait and see what the split time is for sector 4, but it was a purple in sectors 2 and 3 so far for Darrell Young.
When he comes into this as the favourite, we've been saying that all day, he's done a 3rd purple sector on this lap alone. So he's trying to move the goalpost from a 220.4, and if he can, with a bit of a twitch there coming out of Black Sands into Fisherman's, it'll be impressive. I reckon he's been a bit close to the wall there, but even so, this on a first flying lap after the restart has underlined the fact that he can just switch it back on again straight away. Look how he's gapped the Alex Liu Mercedes behind him. Close
to the barrier there as well. And a new provisional pole time, 2:19.656. So Darrell O'Young, he's good out the box, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
One lap out from pit lane and then absolutely on the edge. It was twice, you said, a little close to the barrier because where was it? Mandarin as well. So that was a push lap, wasn't it?
Most definitely.
Impressive.
Alex Liu, even though he dropped away on the road from Darrell O'Young, still improved, and he's up to 7th then in the orange Mercedes, which was behind. He's now that sort of dot in the background. Ling Kang has done an absolute best in the 3rd sector, so number 6 Lamborghini is still hustling along. And Kevin Se Wing Kin, Kevin Se, is 3rd fastest, the Macau driver, but he's not improving on this lap.
Yeah, so keep an eye on number 6, Ling Kang, who is currently 2nd, and a personal best in sectors 1 and 2, and an overall best in sector 3. Nothing special in sector 4. Still looking at Darrell O'Young. So he wants the full set of purples, isn't he? He's gone purple in sector 1 this time. Didn't on the previous lap. But he did on the previous lap in sector 2. Didn't this time. So threading all the laps together.
Well, Ling Kang has just done an absolute best in the 3rd sector. This is he coming up towards the timing line. 4th with a little bit slower, breaks the beam on a 2:32. So that was a slow lap all told. Weird that.
Yeah.
He dropped 10 seconds in the 4th sector, and we've got more drama down at Lisboa because up the escape road has gone Henk Kiks. Now he should be able to get it going from there. The camera's having to sort of peer through all the scaffolding to find him, but he's got it moving. So the road should be clear as Chris Chia, the Chinese driver, accelerates to that part of the circuit. Henk Kiks is looking for the way out, but he isn't going to find it there.
4.5 minutes just over of the session remain, and a provisional pole time 2:19.656 for Darrell O'Young, car number 55. What is the number 20 car going to do about getting back on circuit? It's going to be a bit of a 3-point turn to get the car back round, isn't it?
Darrell O'Young 2:19.3 now, so he's 1.3 seconds quicker than Ling Kang. Kevin Tay still 3rd, and now up to 4th has gone Chen Shanshang with another of the Mercedes AMGs, but he is in turn 2.7 seconds down on O'Young.
Oh, and we've got the number 17 car now. That's Anderson here, and that car in the middle of the track. You have to make a quick decision where to go, don't you? And it's going to be around the back of the car. The car's stricken right in the centre of the circuit. Yep, you pick your way, don't you? If you've gone slow enough, you can get tight into the inside of the corner, or if you're approaching maybe a little bit more hotly, then you can go at the back of the car. It's not going anywhere, that's the trouble.
Well, exactly, and there are people on purple laps. So Kevin Se and Ling Kang have both been doing absolute best, and their laps are going to be affected massively here because we've got a 3rd red flag. And with 3 minutes and 21 seconds on the clock, that might just about do it. We'll wait and see, but again, big frustration for the likes of Ling or Se because nothing they could do about it. Somebody has a moment.
Darrell O'Young's last improvement on pole time was impressive because it was perfect.
Oh, he's been clobbered. No. Sorry, Alan, to interrupt you, but that's after a red flag.
Oh, no.
Now, that's what's been feared. That's why the session was stopped. But I'm afraid the Audi has arrived far too quickly. Is that Chris Char's car? And ploughed into Anderson Hayes' Aston. But to do that after a red flag goes down like a cup of cold sick with the officials. So here you go in replay. The Aston is there. Red flags are flying, and bang.
Oh, dear, oh, dear. Oh, dear, that would have been quite a shock inside the car, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's 2 cars I doubt we'll see tomorrow, I'm afraid to say.
I think you're right.
But if that was Chris Char, then he really does have a case to answer there because he shouldn't have been going that quickly under a red flag.
That would be the 33 car, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear, not what we'd like to see. And a big shame as well for Ling Kang. He'd just gone personal best on Sector 1, overall best in Sectors 2 and 3. So that could have threaded together to be a mighty impressive lap.
Well, with it was going to be recovering one car. Now it's retrieving two badly damaged cars and clear up debris. I mean, look at that.
That's going to take a while, isn't it?
It is. I can't imagine the session will be restarted, but I'll wait to be proved wrong. But
it would be one lap, wouldn't it? Just for one lap, a restart.
Yeah. What's it, 2 minutes 19. What have we got left? 3 minutes and 20. Yeah, they could just about do one lap.
Yeah.
The point about that, looking at it, it was also unnecessary. You know, the decision had been taken. The session was stopped. It was under red flag conditions.
Yeah. And
still there was a big accident.
Yep.
And that, no doubt, will be brought to the attention of the stewards.
Yeah, big shame that. And the Aston Martin was okay. It looked okay.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously had its moment and was stranded, but it's got bigger problems now, as you can quite rightly say.
Yeah. Oh dear, oh dear. So maybe a need for a bit of fire extinguishing down there, and the session will not be resumed. So confirmation that this is going to take a little while, I think, this incident, and that's why the decision is made, and it's nothing to do with us, but I would suggest that is the right decision to not restart. It had been a fairly bothered session already until that point, and now they need all the time to deal with the incident down there on circuit. Two cars, lots of debris, and therefore presumably a little wait before we get our final qualifying session of the day underway for the Macau Formula 4 qualifying. It was due to get underway at 3:45. That's about 14 minutes away, and there's a fair bit of work to be done down there on the circuit, so
it's still doable, I think, given how
doable.
swiftly people can work.
They work incredibly quickly here to get circuits clear. But that concludes qualifying for the Greater Bay Area GT Cup GT3. Darryl O'Young takes provisional pole with a 2:19.3. Ling Kang in car number 6 was on a quick lap in the Lamborghini, finishes second, and then Kevin Say from Toro Racing in car number 18 in the Mercedes completes the top 3. Chang Cheng Shang in car number 88 in 4th position, and Chia Chris On in car number 33 in 5th. Min Heng completes the top 6. Lulik Carr in the Elegant Racing Team car is next in the field, and 17 in total complete qualifying for the Greater Bay Area GT3s. So with